the plastic bag is full, we throw it into the nearest landfill. It's out of sight and out of mind. What is the state of our humankind? And I don't know what to say, 'cause we produce more every day, and we call it garbage.
Welcome to Going Green for Green. Today's theme, e-waste. From computers to cell phones, our need for the latest gadgets is creating a huge pile of e-waste. In fact, e-waste is the largest growing segment of our current waste stream. Here's a few stats. In 2005, only 26% of the 71,000 tons of e-waste produced in Canada was recycled. On average, cell phones are replaced every 18 months. It's estimated that 70% of heavy metals in landfills comes from e-waste. The thing about e-waste is that they contain a lot of valuable commodities. There's glass, there's metals, all kinds of different materials in there that when it's put through a particular process, these materials can be recovered and made into other products. The flip side of this is that some of these products do contain some pretty nasty materials that can leach into our lakes, rivers, and streams should they end up in landfill. And even worse than that is some of these products are being bulked up and shipped to third world countries where they're not being disposed of properly. Emmy award-winning journalist and filmmaker Peter Klein traveled to Ghana to make his film Digital Dumping Ground. We spoke with Peter about the global e-waste problem.
We were just sort of curious. I mean, it really started with that curiosity. What happens to all of our old electronics? There's sort of rumors that some of it's shipped overseas, so we wanted to know. And we really started with, we actually took some old electronics that we had at our school, actually, and took it to a couple different electronic waste recyclers and asked them, first of all, what do you do with it?
And what they literally do is they dump it into a blast furnace, and it burns it all up, and all they get out of it is a bunch of ash and some of the precious metals. That's all that's left. Everything else gets consumed, burnt. And that's an actual fact.
And then we watched them put it into these containers, and we took note of the container numbers, and we used public records to basically trace those containers around the world. And what we found is that these electronics don't actually go to local facilities to be gotten rid of in a safe, useful way, but in many cases they were being shipped overseas. And people in the developing world, places like Ghana, are actually suffering because of it, because it ends up in these dumps, and kids spend their days ripping it apart, getting the tiny bits of precious metals out of it, selling it for scrap for pennies a pound. But in the process, they're exposing themselves to all sorts of toxins.
In the last few years, Agbabloshi has become one of the world's digital dumping grounds, where the West's electronic waste, or e-waste, piles up, hundreds of millions of tons of it each year. The boys scavenge a living from the metal remains. Some of the boys burn old foam on top of computers to melt away the plastic, leaving behind scraps of copper and iron they can collect to sell. The younger boys use magnets from old speakers to gather up the smaller pieces left behind at the burn site.
In addition to that, what we realize is that Ghana is considered one of the top sources of cybercrime according to the FBI. And here we are sending our hard drives, our computers with all of our personal information into the belly of the beast, right into the hands of potential criminals. We went out and bought a bunch of drives and looked at them and found personal data, social security numbers, social insurance numbers, sensitive details about dozens of different multi-million, some were up to $500 million contracts with U.S. government agencies, including Homeland Security, Transportation Security Agency, the Pentagon. The list goes on and on. I think most people don't think about it. It sort of magically disappears. And we live in such a sort of a disposable consumer society where, you might think twice about buying a new computer or a new TV or a new phone on a financial basis. Do I have the money to get, the newest iPhone when the old one works okay? But I think for most people, the calculus isn't you know, do I want to contribute to the electronic waste stream in the world? I mean, that's not something most people think. Should I buy a new TV because I'm going to contribute to the electronic waste stream? That's not a conversation that happens at most dinner tables. But maybe it should be, because, you know, that is one of the ramifications of this sort of disposable electronic consumer society we live in. This is something you have control over. You know, one, whether you buy new electronics, and two, what you do with your old electronics. Those are really simple things that people can, you know, those are basic decisions that we make, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to make sure that your electronics are gotten rid of in a safe way. So I guess that was one of the things we learned from our reporting.
Wow, what an incredible story. A lot of us didn't know this was going on, and it certainly is the downside to your iPod and your old computer. Luckily, here in the province of Ontario, we're doing something about it. And when we come back after the break, we're going to tell you all about it. Check us out online at www.goinggreenforgreen.tv or follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Going Green for Green is brought to you by Ontario Electronic Stewardship and recycleyourelectronics.ca.
Look at this stuff. This place is loaded with e-waste. And again, we're just at one little transfer station here serving a small part of Toronto. This is a serious problem. At least this stuff is here and will be dealt with properly. To find out more about the recycling of e-waste here in the province of Ontario, I tracked down Carol Hochu from Ontario Electronic Stewardship, the organization currently charged with recycling e-waste here in our province.
Well, Ontario Electronic Stewardship is an industry-funded and an industry-led organization who has been charged with this very important mandate of diverting waste electronics from landfill into safe and responsible reuse and recycling programs. OES, the organization, was established in 2007, but in terms of program operations, we launched on April 1st, 2009, so we've just started our third year of program operations. So in our first year, we collected 17,303 metric tons of electronic waste. By the end of our second year of operations, we had virtually doubled that amount collected, so almost 35,000 metric tons of e-waste. So in 2 short years, I'm proud to say that we've diverted over 50,000 metric tons of waste electronics. That's about 6,250 tractor trailer loads of e-waste would, if they were put end to end, would run in a line from downtown Toronto up to Aurelia. Recycleyourelectronics.ca is a website where Ontario residents and businesses can search for their nearest OES collection site, whether it's a permanent depot or a special event. And it's very easy to find that location. You enter either your postal code or your community, or you can also search by material type, and your nearest collection locations will come up once you've entered that data. A wealth of detail and information provided on that recycleyourelectronics.ca website. The recycleyourelectronics.ca tour is taking place this year, and we're very excited about it. In fact, we've got 2 tours going on. We've got a mobile tour taking place in Northern Ontario, meeting with great success both in terms of tons collected and promotion of the program. For the first time, we've got some First Nation groups involved in our collection events as well, which we're very excited about. And then we have concurrently a tour taking place in Southern Ontario that is going to the home games of the TFC, concerts at Ontario Place, the Molson Amphitheatre, other venues, and in fact is touring around to a number of cities and towns with festivals and fairs in Southern Ontario. And again, that tour is also being very well received. So pleased to report that virtually from Wawa to Windsor, we've got a tour stop coming to a city or town near you.
Today, down in the Portlands of Toronto, I managed to rally Vince Ferrazza. Vince, welcome to Going Green for Green.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
So Vince, tell us about the e-waste programs at the city. It's a new role for you. Tell us what's going on about e-waste and how people can get their old televisions and monitors picked up.
Sure. In the city of Toronto, we actually provide 3 services for all our residents on how they can properly dispose of their e-waste. And our primary service, which we're really proud of, we're the only one in Canada that we provide this service, is curbside collection. So our residents now can put all their electronics at the curb on their regularly scheduled garbage day, and a dedicated separate vehicle will pick up their e-waste, no hassle, no charge.
So it's gone from the days where you used to have to load up and bulk up your materials, put it in the trunk, go to an environment day or go to a specific depot, and now I just put it at the curb.
That's correct. Now, we do still provide those other two services, so if anyone still wants to make a day of it and attend one of our depots or their environment day, they're more than welcome. We have a number of apartment buildings and condominiums in the city of Toronto, and we want to make it convenient for them as well. So we also provide for them bags and also bins where they can place all their small electronic items, say in the lobby, and then once it's full, they give us a call and then we'll pick it up. Our relationship with Ontario Electronic Stewardship is twofold. One, operationally, we have this agreement where we'll collect the material and get it ready for them to pick up. And two, they do offset some of our costs with revenue that they provide.
Where are we at in terms of diversion?
Right now, the city is achieving a 47% diversion rate. So 47% of all the waste that we manage is being diverted from our landfill. If it wasn't for the participation of our residents, then we would not have achieved the success that we have today. And I just wanted to say thank you very much to all the residents for being a significant player, and we look forward to introducing better programs for them in the future.
No, it's amazing, you know, when you look at how far Toronto has come in a decade, we really are a shining light. I mean, it's been hard work. It hasn't been cheap, but you know, this is it. We got to invest in this stuff to if we're going to have a world-class city, we're going to have to deal with our garbage. Check us out online at www.goinggreenforgreen.tv or follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Going Green for Green is brought to you by Ontario Electronic Stewardship and recycleyourelectronics.ca.
Here we are in the community of Parkdale, July. It is a gorgeous sunny Saturday, and everybody in Parkdale is out bringing their household hazardous waste, their old computers, their electronics, everything they have in their house that they don't want to put in the garbage bag, that they want to be disposed of properly. Recycleyourelectronics.ca is here. We've seen all kinds of computers. We see folks with paint cans. You name it, it's coming here to be disposed of properly. Oh yeah, and down the road, they got free compost. So Raul, what are you recycling today?
Oh geez, I had a portable stereo, DVD player.
I dropped off old electronics and I dropped off hazardous waste.
One electronic piece, a couple of small appliances.
A giant desktop computer from maybe 10 years ago, and then 2 laptops that maybe 10 years old as well.
You're recycling the old computer today?
Yes, we are.
How long has that been in the basement?
3 years, 4 years maybe.
And you finally decided to get it up and out the door, eh?
The wife decided I was going to get it up and out the door.
How's the participation been today? What do you think?
So far, so good. A lot of people have been driving up and dropping off some stuff, and even the people who didn't bring anything have been asking questions. So
they seem really excited about the program, which is awesome. So everyone seems ready and willing to start recycling.
So are you pretty happy that you have these days in your neighborhood?
I'm glad. I come every year. Oh, I think this is a great program, and it should happen more.
There are a lot of people that don't really know about us, but that's why it's a good thing to have our tour going around, especially when we have a drop-off event where they can actually bring stuff in rather than having to find out where our locations are.
So if they want to find out, they go to recycleyourelectronics.ca?
Yeah, exactly. They can just go to the website, recycleyourelectronics.ca, and type in the postal code, and it'll show them all their closest drop-off locations to them, which are usually Staples and Future Shop and people that are working in conjunction with us.
So we already know across government levels, municipal, provincial, and even federally, everybody's doing their part here to try and offer programs for us to recycle our goods properly. Well, what about the retail level, where we actually buy these products? Staples, over the last couple of years, have rolled out a program that allows us to bring the products that we buy at Staples right back to Staples for proper disposal and recycling. Come on inside, we're going to check it out. Trevor, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So we know that human beings can't get enough of their electronic gadgets, the computers, the latest and greatest thing. What is Staples doing to try and help consumers dispose of those products properly and recycle them?
Well, Mike, in April of 2009, Staples decided to participate in a pilot project with the Ontario Electronic Stewardship, where we decided to start collecting electronics in our stores.
Since you started this program, has there been a continual increase in products taken back? Or?
We've seen a large increase in the less than 2 years we've been part of the program. So far this year, in the first 5 months of the year, we've collected 900 kilograms per month, we're averaging.
And everywhere we go, we're finding that the people really want to do the right thing. So now that the services are being offered, boom, next thing you know, everybody's participating.
Yep, for sure. And we make it easy for our customers to drop off their electronics. A simple waiver form gets signed, and there's no cost to them when they drop off the recycling. We want to be a good corporate citizen, and the environment's very important to us, everybody at Staples, and myself included. We have a couple of other programs that help the environment. One is we reduce our lighting. It's half our lighting during the peak summer months. The other thing we do is we do recycling of batteries, alkaline and rechargeable batteries. We have a program for that.
Hey, Trevor, thanks a lot for your time today.
No problem,
really appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in today.
Going Green for Green got invited to the Live Green Toronto Festival. This is the 6th year for the show. And all kinds of vendors, and really like a total example of how our demand for green products is beginning to change the economy. We're going to talk to some vendors, we're going to talk to Jessica, the festival organizer, and we're going to see exactly what Live Green Toronto is all about. Live Green Toronto.
Yes.
So
yes.
Tell me, Jessica, I mean, pretty big event here, big day. What's happening?
Yes, well, it's the Live Green Toronto Festival, over 100 vendors. We have food vendors as well, selling local organic food. Our vendors on the streets are selling everything from organic clothing to solar panels.
What exactly do you guys do?
What we do is we try and make greening your life really simple. One of the ways is to bring all these lovely vendors to you. Another way is our one-stop shop website at www.livegreentoronto.ca. We also have various different programs, grant programs, outreach programs.
Do you find when you're out in the town and talking to people, is the environment, is it something top of mind?
We do lots of education on recycling, energy conservation issues, also hugely important, doing even the various simple things like changing out your light bulbs from incandescents to compact fluorescents if you haven't already done so. We have things on water conservation. We get a lot of questions about, how can I conserve water?
How many people do you figure will walk through here today?
It's estimated about 30,000.
30,000? Wow, amazing.
Duration of the event, yes.
Is one of the main issues, is it recycling?
Yes, and there's also a lot of confusion out there on what's recyclable, what's not recyclable.
And see, this is my thing, Jessica, is I think everybody really wants to do the right thing.
Yes.
And they try, and if they get frustrated in the end, it still might end up in the garbage bag, which is why we've got to do a better job of educating.
That's why we're here. In fact, we have a huge group of volunteers that go out all across the city of Toronto doing over 150 events a year, talking to people about things like recycling.
So guys, you've made an investment in solar. Tell us about the marketplace, where demand's at. How's business? What's going on?
Well, business is great. It's really booming. The Ontario industry is, thanks to the feed-in tariff that the Ontario government created, it's brought a lot of investment. I mean, we've just decided to put all our energies towards something that we feel really passionate about, renewable energy. And a lot of companies have come into Ontario because of this. We've got residential, we've got business, we've got co-ops, we've got industry. Anybody that wants to see a good return on investment and that wants to invest in their immediate environment rather than something somewhere in another country, they're getting involved.
What a great event, and you don't have to look too far here to see that the people are asking for sustainable green products, and not just the products, but we want to live a greener lifestyle. I've been chatting with people here all day, and they are concerned. They want to make a difference. They want change. So whatever the government does or doesn't do, we're in charge, and we're asking for the green economy, and it's here to stay. Before I go, I got to go back and get one more of those 100% organic brisket beef sandwiches. I'll be right back. Check us out online at www.goinggreenforgreen.tv or follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Going Green for Green is brought to you by Ontario Electronic Stewardship and recycleyourelectronics.ca.
As the host of Going Green for Green, I've had a massive effect on society. Well, that may be being a bit facetious, but I have had a bit of an influence on my godson here, Jordan Smith, recent graduate from university, just embarking on a green career. Jordan, tell us about what you're doing now and how your career is moving forward and what you're up to.
I just finished school at Western recently, and I wanted to get into sales. But I didn't want to just sell anything. I wanted to sell a product that I could stand behind and something that would help the environment. And I found these two products that I now represent. One is Energex and one is Frilo. The Frilo is a photocatalytic oil extending device that was designed in Japan. It installs directly into your deep fryers, and you're able to cook your food at a lower temperature and push the food out in the same amount of time or less. About 30% less oil gets absorbed into the food and can double the life of the oil.
So is there some savings there? I guess oil's
significant savings. Right. The price of oil keeps rising, and this can cut that oil cost in half.
Well, in the 6 weeks that we've had the Frilo, our oil usage has dropped by half, at least. I think a little bit more than that. The savings are somewhere around $600 a month with using it, which, you know, over a short period of time is going to easily pay off the cost of the Frilos.
I found looking at a lot of green initiatives, they end up costing a lot of money for you to be green, and you end up spending more money than you actually get back. And it makes you feel good about supporting the environment, but it ends up being costly. So when I looked at Frilo, I kind of thought of it as the trifecta in the green industry. Not only does it help you produce a healthier product, so it's better food for the consumer, it also saves on energy, and as well, when a restaurant puts it in, it pays them back very quickly. So they actually make a lot of money by putting in Frilo. So they can be very green, they can be sustainable, they can produce better food, and they can save a lot of money.
Well, thanks a lot, Jordan. And as I say, you know, the green economy has many different faces and many different shapes. These are not your traditional green job involved in recycling or installing solar panels or windmills. This is a job basically on the other side of the Green Energy Act about conservation and about creating efficiencies. And when we create efficiencies, we eliminate waste. Eliminating waste is just plain good business. We've spent a lot of time in this episode looking at electronic waste as a global problem and looked at how the province of Ontario is trying hard to do something about it. Next week, we're going to go even further. We're going to watch this electronic waste get processed and see how valuable commodities are being extracted out of this waste, bulked up and sold on the open market. And in the meantime, let's take giant footsteps and leave smaller footprints.
Another plastic bag is full. We throw it into the nearest landfill. It's out of sight and out of mind. What is the state of our humankind? And I don't know what to say, 'cause we produce more every day, and we call it garbage.